Live from the Real Guppy Dockside Learning and Multimedia Center. It's the Real Angler Podcast with Community Kevin Brannon. Brought to you by AFTCO Fishing Apparel and Tackle, designed to perform. Channel Islands Sport Fishing, offering deep-sea fishing on quality sport fishing charter boats, and more. Costa Sunglasses. Discover life's greatest adventures with Costa. See what's out there. Daiwa. If you want innovation and quality in your fishing products, Daiwa has what you need. And now, here's your host, Community Kevin Brannon. Today's guest, Danny Long of Long Strong Wellness and more.
This is Barry right here. I'm the California Bear, right? California is my state. That's right. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're listening to. This is Community Kev with The Real Radio. We have a special guest here today, a friend of mine, my coach, nutritionist, specialist, supplementation, gave me to my goal that I wanted, but I still got some more to go. Danny Long, and we met at the gym, and just watching other intense lifters there at our gym made me want to start some communication and chopping it up with them. And then we just been, every time we see each other in the gym, we just kept getting a few more minutes speaking to each other without trying to run into somebody's workout time, so you don't break your sweat. But obviously inspired me from a distance working out, so we started chatting, and then I reached out to him for some guidance, and he came through with some of that's been paying off. And he's on a journey himself right now. Had some big news out in Pittsburgh I'll let him tell you about. So our guest today is Danny Long with Long Strong Wellness. And Long Strong is the name of he has a couple brands, so I'm going to try to get them all out there today. He's going to tell you about them under construction. And he keeps saying, but that's kind of like a fitness thing too, right? Your body's always under construction. So Danny Long, today, you're our guest on Real Radio. First, let's talk about what just happened in Pittsburgh. What was that?
Well, so there was a dream that I had maybe about 20 years ago when I started my fitness journey. And, that dream was to one day step on the stage and show the hard work that we put into our fitness goals. And so after a few competitions in the last year, we were able to qualify to go to a national show. And at the national show, if you get to that point and you actually win, well, you get a pro card.
And what happened?
So, what happened?
Yeah.
As I'm standing on the stage and they're announcing my name, let me just tell you, the emotions were real. The emotions were strong, and it was like rain on a Sunday just came. And it was a dream of mine, and to stand there that day and accomplish that, it was surreal. Still to this day, I'm telling you, I'm still at awe.
So you're official pro now?
I am an official pro.
Wow. Does that mean my request for services, does the price of tea go up in China? It should.
Well, I tell you what.
Was that grandfather did?
Your grandfather did.
So
you got some credit.
Thanks, man. So I've been to plenty of bodybuilding shows, about 20 years myself. And just so you guys know, there's like a regional side, an amateur that you have to work your way up. And there's qualifying events, like he's saying, they get you there. So it's, you got to be out there a lot, and a lot of dedication and sacrifice to get to the pro level. And there's politics involved, right? You got to know who I'm sure there's things that go around about, as long as I've been in watching bodybuilding. I started, Ronnie Coleman had just won his first title, and they thought it was going to be Flex Wheeler, so people had their predictions, and you have Weider athletes that people thought were always, going to win because they're Weider athletes. So, because they got to sell the product. So there's always something in there. So to come out of, like we say, getting it out of the mud, like coming out on your own, it takes maybe a little longer versus if you were mentored by, somebody that, Rambod or somebody, that's been in their training folks, to come out and do it all on your own. It might take you a little longer, but just saying that the aspect, so people that are listening understand, like, kind of how you navigate through it. So what made you say you want to go from just working out to making it a career,
Well, the passion has always been real. And so I'll tell you a little background on how we really got there.
Yeah, tell me. Tell us.
The fact that I went through. I was with my ex for about 8 years, and I thought that she was going to be the one. And then one day it just I got the Dear John letter, I guess you'd call it. She kind of said, "Hey, I don't think this is going to work." Well, I turned
Like a
that.
letter or a text or like in
No,
face,
no, not more of like I guess I'm just uh, the fact that she basically dumped me. That's basically what happened, and I took that breakup, and that was the fire that I needed to fuel this passion.
That happens a lot, new me, to the
Yeah.
people that make that determination. That's good to ask that question, because sometimes it gives you a chance to kind of focus on yourself, prioritize yourself. There's different angles you can go in it, take that and go. But I know quite a few people that a relationship that they were in could have held them back or down on what they want to do, and it kind of gives them that freedom at the same time, with something with a drive.
So, I took that intensity and I had to shift my mindset, and that's what it really was all about. So I had to stay. Well, my military background kind of gave me that discipline, right? But taking that fire, I had to be a little selfish, because when in the bodybuilding, especially when you're going through some type of prep period, you got to be selfish, because I'm not gonna probably make that party, because there's temptations there. There's food there that I probably shouldn't be eating, or folks invite you to little parties, and what can happen at parties. And
Yeah,
so,
I watched your video from your room in Pittsburgh, and boy, did it put a gut check on me, man. And what he's saying is it. When I watched your video that you posted the day after the second day, he's saying everything he's telling you guys right now, and it made me be like, Kevin, am I going hard enough? But that part about it, right? Like, maybe I gotta, if self-control ain't the easiest thing for you to do in temptation, then maybe just being absent is the smarter thing to do. I mean, but for the right reasons,
Sure. Yeah. And again, it's really shifting that mindset.
So today's topic, well, me and Danny started talking, and I remember my AA sponsor. So see, I bring my friends in here, man. I got support around, right? So when I started going to Alcoholics Anonymous, and he's like, I don't think you're an alcoholic. You might just be a drunk. I don't drink all the time. When you drink, you just wild out, right? So we just check in every once in a while. But he's about mindset too. He's he's an ultra runner, and that thing was called mindset. His was about his mindset and his business he's building there, and especially for men, so that we have we could fellowship together. Because sometimes we like to hold things in and not like share them, and what we're going through. So he really focuses on men and mental and mindset. So that's today's focus is going to be about, besides his story, is mindset and what he's talking about. And that's what we said when we get there on Wednesday. Let's talk about mindset. So it was your mindset, made up your mind,
and changed my attitude. Right? You change your attitude. You kind of have to have that kind of chip on your shoulder, right? Because with the right mindset, you can't hesitate. There's no hesitation. You got to have a clear, focused plan moving ahead. And so, with that comes discipline, of course. And I'll tell you, it became a lonely journey. And because you really got to look at yourself, it's you versus you, me versus me. And so, you come up with your own plan. But at the same time, in order to do this even effectively, you got to have that coach too, right? And so I'm hoping I'm doing that for you,
He was coaching me from across the way, right? Because I was like, damn, homie swelled up, man. He got them licorice veins running through his biceps, you know what I'm saying?
Geez.
But you have a coach too,
I
you
do.
know? And then we could take, and sometimes again, people that are listening, instead of being intimidated and asking for help, what our program is about, asking for help. I was a personal trainer, so I know a little bit about the training. I know a lot about the training, but I was ready to dial in the scientific side of my performance, to go along with me going to the gym twice a day, right? Because there's specialists out there that know, and also to help, when you do get lonely or it gets hard, that you do have somebody to turn to, kind of like similar to like a sponsor in AA, right? Like, and coach, like kind of like hold you accountable too at the same time. Because some days, man, like it gets tough. And the journey, so there's good to and mentorship we talk about is important. So you learn from them. Even being a teacher, you're learning from your student, vice versa. So yeah, I'm learning. Again, I weighed in at 210. That was my goal. I think we'll go to 200 now. I want to define the muscle tissues and showcase them. But God, am I tired of eating? I'm ready for more cheat meals, but whatever. So who was your coach?
So my coach, His name is Juni Vicente, and so
He's a legend out here.
He is a legend out here. He's actually been competing close to 30 years, and so I've been to his house. I've seen his accolades, and it's absolutely amazing to see what he's done. And so I definitely lean on him because of his experience. And so with anything, as much as I say this is a lonely journey or it's a selfish journey, you don't get to where you're at successfully without having a team, right? And 100%. So he's definitely part of my team, and I have my kids as also part of my team. That's my motivation.
Yeah. But
he knows all the protocols. He's done this for so many years that I don't have that experience with that. There's a lot of the stuff in the background, vice your training, because when it comes to the training portion, I know what I'm doing there. But as far as what it takes 12 weeks out to when you hit you're standing on that stage, there's certain protocols that I don't really know. I mean, I have those tools now. That's some of the things that I've shared with you. And but yeah, it's a journey that, again, as far as much as I'll say it's a self journey, it does take a team.
How did you approach him? Was it the same thing? Somebody referred him? Was it like me and you at the gym? You just started talking to him and saying, "Hey, I want to go to another level." How did that transpire? And there's a Kai Green video that I watched, and this is when I first started watching like motivational videos, and it was called Redemption, and him going, he got 4th place in the Olympia, and he thought he was going to get first, but he talks about these things that go along in his accomplishments, but how you elevate, like he said, Henry Wambach and these trainers, or Charles Glass, like to get to that level for them to make you a champion. He didn't just show up, without nothing. Like he got to a level, and then the level of the people that were around him, you know what I mean? Like, so how did you get what Juni was at?
So in happenstance, it really is. I've known Juni for about 20 years, right? We kind of have some of the same circle of friends, and he's just somebody I've admired. I watched him throughout his journey, even before I got into fitness. And, just to see somebody put in that kind of hard work that you can't pay for, right? That you pay for that through the pain,
it's
the
investment,
hardship, and, putting in the work. And so, he's just somebody that I've always admired. And so when it came to that point, when I said, I'm going to make this commitment, he's the first one I thought of and reached out to.
Yeah. I've seen him at gyms for years. Him and what's the other guy? Vicky. I just lost his name.
Billy?
Yeah, Billy Muscles.
Billy Muscles, yeah.
Yeah, same with him. These guys been out there competing since I was watching him at Gold's Gym when Gold's was over there. And I remember seeing him with Sean Ray. One time we were out eating at Sean Ray there at the collection. And Sean Ray thought he knew me from somewhere. So I just let him think that so I could chill with him, kick it tough. Hey, man, how's so-and-so doing? I'm like, yeah, they're doing great, man. He thought it was somebody from New York.
You do have that face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Anyway, so Sean was just chopping it up with me, man. And I was just like going along with it out at dinner one night. And I used to watch that passion. And I've always been like, I don't think I want to compete. I got stretched out skin still from when I used to be 280, bro, So I don't know if that cuts me off or makes me want to do it, but I just like fitness. I like me versus me sports. I like beating myself. Like yesterday, I went in the gym to do cardio. I didn't really want to go yesterday. But I had some stuff on my plate that I needed to get done, but I still went in at 6 o'clock. And sometimes just those victories, man, are enough. But this is the leanest I've been in a while, thanks to your help. And then seeing you make me want to dial in, and you never know, I might get on a stage. But what was it like for you on your first time on stage? For you to walk out in the trunks and get out there, what's that like the first time you go out on the stage?
You come out there, you're nervous for the first time and whatnot.
And because you got to put the trunk. Well, you're in
men's physique,
right? So you don't have to wear that.
So I don't have to wear the
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So that first time stepping on stage, I part of that, when you go up on stage, there's 2 parts to that, right? It's showing your physique, but then you actually got to pose correctly so that you can show off your physique correctly. So, I did some posing prior to, maybe about a month or 2 out, which probably wasn't enough time. And so I step on the stage for the first time. I go through my routine, and looking back at it today, it's hard to watch.
Really?
It really is hard to watch. And those of you that might see my page, I think I posted something on there of my very first time, and yeah, it was definitely a learning curve for sure to see that. But we made the adjustments because of it, and we went to our next show in Las Vegas. We signed up for 5 of the divisions, and we took them all because we were able to take what we did in that very first competition, learn from it, adjust, come up with a new strategy, come up with a new protocol. And when we stepped on that stage for the second time in front of my family, mind you, yeah, we took everything and an overall. And,
Is that what helps you? And then that's what helps you qualify for a national show. You got to go from there.
Correct.
So where was your first show at, in LA?
First show was in LA at the LA Fit Expo.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I wasn't supposed to do that.
The
show.
one in the LA Convention Center.
At the convention center.
Okay.
I was not supposed to do that show, but
you just walked in like Arnold, like, oh, I'm here. I might as well get on stage. I think Arnold, like 72 Olympia, he wasn't going to compete, or 78. Like, oh, well, I'm here, and you ended up winning.
I think it was more of the fact that my coach said, "Look, you have an opportunity here. We were going to go just as spectators. We were going to go just to go," and he said, "Well, look, you got an opportunity here."
You think he already knew he was gonna?
I think he was.
Yeah. Hey, let's go get some subs, and then knowing already he was gonna.
Hey, jump on stage while you're at it. Here's some shorts.
Oh, yeah, I just happen to have a pair of trunks right here.
Yeah, they fit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that happened, and because my actual show that I was training for was going to be the Vegas show, because I knew my kids were going to be there, my granddaughter, my mom, and all my friends that are from here and out of state and whatnot, and so that's what we were training for.
That's cool to celebrate that with all those people too, man. I'm a family guy, man, so I know to win those successes with your family there has got to be even more sweet, you know.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, I wish I was on their side, because they were having so much fun on that side. I can hear them, and
that's part of it too. When you go to the shows, the crowd participation, people start yelling and stuff. I used to go to the ones down in Culver City, and yeah, man, a team will show up, especially like the bomb shows, the girls,
right? And
they come out, so they're making that, they're a crowd favorite. It's almost like a little WWE action where they got your favorites, and that could help sway the judges and be like, you know, like, hey, you got this dude he's got influence already. He got half a section just screaming and yelling and cheering. So,
well, you talk about the politics of it, and so I would say that there is a little bit of those politics. I'm not going to go into any kind of details or anything, but I've seen it, and I would say that it may have happened to me. But at the end of the day, you know, you take that and you stay humble, and you may have won that show, but it doesn't matter, because it's not about the medals and the accolades and all those things. It's still, did you put everything on the table that day, right? And
especially if you go out there your first time and you're just giving, I watched some of my old videos, man, from 10 years. I didn't use a transition. Audio was all bad, you know, if I look at some of my original films, you know, but sometimes it's good to watch, like, wow, because you can see like how far you've come, you know. But also I believe in this industry is that you have to be marketable too. I think there's an ambassador aspect that bodybuilding looks at too, right? Can you travel the world? Are you going to go around and use your fame to be a floozy, basically, right? Are you going to run this industry through the mud? You know, that I believe that there's an ambassador side that they could trust their star athletes to go around to ambassador the sport, right?
Right.
And I know that some of the guys are talking about that in our older bodybuilding days. So when you hear somebody saying, oh yeah, this guy's got talent, but you know, he still likes to party a whole lot and, you know, things like that, that those words do get around.
Oh, absolutely.
So when you're coming through it and they say, oh no, this dude's humble, stays with it, that also factors into the decision making too, because again, you're a face of a whole industry. So if you're out there, I think that plays a huge part of how they pick their winners too, just to make sure that those people are going around again, because this thing could take you on the road once you're pro all over the world, because fitness is a universal activity.
Sure. Yeah. So, you know, I equate that what you were just saying. Sometimes it can be a popularity contest. You know what I mean? You look at celebrities, and when they allegedly do something probably not so positive, you know, the word gets out.
Yeah, it's magnified.
Right. So, yeah.
It's not to say you're not. I just think, I know that, you know, if an NFL player, if a kid is coming out of college and they could say, you know, he had, you know, some of these worries that he might fall in the draft, right? Just because, again, they'll take a look on him. And all I'm saying is that might exist in other industries like this. But when you come out there like you do and put it together, man, you know, it's going to show, right? All you need is an opportunity, right? Absolutely. And then you get to show all the effort that you put in when nobody's watching. We watched a video here on Saturday with our kids. It's called Effort. I played a lot from Ray Lewis, and he talked about, I wasn't always the biggest, wasn't always the fastest, but I knew that my effort was gonna show on tape, And
Absolutely.
I tell that to my son too, why he plays. That way, when he gets his opportunity, then he can highlight, like, yeah, who's that? Oh yeah, well, if you notice, he's here at 8:00 and he stays all day and he puts in the extra work and he really got it dialed in. I remember trying to take a picture with him the other day at a football game, and he's getting it, but I had to bring him, I think, his chin strap or something, so he had to run over to the side. I'm trying to get a selfie with my boy, and he's like, "Not right now. I'm locked in, Dad." And he ran off, and I got a video of him like running off and shit. Excuse my language, but yeah, when you guys are locked in like that, man, that's your effort. So when it's showtime, it's go time.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to having that mindset, right? Having that.
And it might take an event to get you there, right? Sometimes there's this another guy that's sorry to jump in. So people just know sometimes it's not always an ideal time to start, right? Mm-hmm. It could be through adversity, right? So
yeah, that's what Heartbreak did for me. It fueled that fire, and at that point my mindset shifted, and it was a laser focused agenda for me at that point. We put a plan together, put my head down, put my headphones on, and
grind.
We just grinded,
So he tells me, like, today's Wednesday, right? So I got to figure out what I could exercise. He made me take an extra day off. And normally I don't listen to anybody. I do whatever I want, right? Because I'm a machine. So normal people need a day off. Kevin doesn't, right? But, seeing his results and him telling me, like, if you're going to get a coach, or if you're going to ask somebody for guidance and help, it's to try to utilize all that, versus asking them and then not following through. So today's Wednesday, and I think I'm just going to go for a bike ride or something. I'm not allowed to train any muscles, right? I had to take 2 days off. I can't lift weights 2 days a week.
No, see, because, I always tell people, especially those with that type of passion like we do, right? When it comes to fitness, is the hardest thing for us to do is what? Rest.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct, right? Because we're sitting at home. We love going to the gym. We have that passion for it, but then we have a rest day, and we're trying to figure out what to do with ourselves, But that also complicates things too, because if you're sitting at home, what happens when you're sitting at home?
I don't know. I don't get, as much as I grind out. My question might not. I get home at 8:00 at night. I just put on something in the background. I'm watching Chosen lately. Usually meal prep, nap it out, and then I'm on the next day. I'm trying to rest more because I grind so hard between what I do, and I take pride in that. Like, I can leave the house at 7 a.m. with my backpack, my gym bag, my meals, and not return until 8:00 that night.
And it shows.
Event.
And
right.
It shows, bro.
Right. So when I get home, I don't really have, like, I'm a fidgeter. I can't sit still. Like, I'll go for a bike ride or do something. But like last year I did laundry, because I got to get caught up because my room started smelling like gym clothes, if you know what that means.
It's important.
Like, ooh, the candle ain't working no more. You better wash them drawers, boy. But I hear what you're saying, though, right? To try to just, like, idle time, what do we do with it, Sometimes, too, if I am home, like, on a Sunday, I'll try to find, that's why I can't buy snacks, because I'll just start digging through the drawers. So if I don't have anything in the house, I'm like, I really didn't buy no sweets. It's fine, I'll be mad at myself for not having something to cheat on.
And that was actually my point, at least for me, right?
Yeah.
You have that temptation. You're sitting at home. You don't have, your agenda for the day to go out and train, and you're meeting people in the community and helping others and being inspired, but you're sitting at home now. And I'm not a big television, TV show binger kind of thing. I'll probably read a book here and there, but then you can only go so long reading a book before, these 50-year-old eyes start to,
Hear that? And he's a champion at 50. So if you're at home and you think, when I missed my window or my shot, dude's 50. You can't tell, but if he didn't confess it to us right now. So again, if you're listening, I think Morgan Freeman started acting like at 60, like don't think your window has closed on you because of where your birth date is on the calendar,
Absolutely not. We all have dreams, we all have passions, and don't let age ever make that an excuse.
What I do when I'm at my house is I put my phone on and I'll usually I have this little speaker, and I love listening to, like, Jim Rohn or the hip hop preacher. I got something playing in the background that is inspiring me, David Goggins or something, when I'm at the house. I even just turn that on and have it playing through the speaker box while I'm going through the house, taking care of the house. But I think the Lord too, man. But as busy as I am being a solopreneur, again, it was worth the grind. So I know if I take that same passion that that I use in my business, and the faith in me and getting out and can nobody do, I could do it. But the Lord's saying, yeah, now, here's some staff and here's some help so that I can sit still more. And actually I've been doing more time with that, man. At 9 o'clock, my alarm goes off to spend time with the Lord. I've been spending more time in the scripture and just reading stuff. That's why I started watching this Chosen too. So I've been trying to block my spirituality. And so I got my mind, body, and my spirit
Awesome.
is on point, but that's just me. But again, when you do those checklists to make sure you living righteous, you eating good, the right things are going to happen. But some of that is the Lord saying, even he had to go up on the mountain and get away from everybody and rest, So I'm trying to implement some more rest into it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, for resting for me might just be a bike ride, because again, I'm not challenging the muscle. But again, the point of getting back to that is, taking wise counsel, and if my coach says, you should do this time. And normally when I go and because I'll have this punk filter, like, yeah, punks won't take a day off. I'm tough, I'm macho. And some of that ego and pride that I do have, there's just gonna have a chip on your shoulder, and ego and pride, right?
Right.
And
there's a very thin line
right.
sometimes.
But putting that together, right, where Kevin, if you're not letting the world down, if you just chilled, bro, telling myself that, right? But when you've already put your brain into, this is why we built different, and this is what we do, and this is why we here. But coming to terms with that for health purposes,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just as healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, I mean, it still comes back to the same
Mindset.
Mindset. I mean, I'm going to continue to say it,
So he got me to eat tilapia. Let's talk about fish for a minute, right? Which I thought, tilapia, I've seen videos of them. Plus, I'm a seafood guy. I catch my own fish. It's hard to eat. Somebody else, man, but that tilapia ain't too bad.
No, it's not.
It's not too bad, man. You can actually do stuff with it and flavor it. My fish, like if I let it sit in the refrigerator a couple of days, you could tell it's fish. It has starts having an aroma and a taste.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I cook it and I have to eat it a meal later, it is not the same out of Tupperware, right?
Right.
But again, that's what makes you ain't no punk. Cause ain't nobody who gonna eat cold fish at 3 o'clock in the afternoon that they cooked the day before, right? You gotta be a little weird and you're willing to push through it. But that tilapia, man, what I'm gonna get right here is a little air fryer, so I can bring in and cook it so it's nice and warm. I have an air cooker. We're gonna have a rice cooker in here and an air fryer in about a week.
That's exactly how I cook my tilapias, with an air fryer. I live and die with a damn air fryer.
I had air fried fish last night. I did put some fish that I had caught,
mm-hmm.
and I put a little. I got the Asian crisper on there, so it's not as heavy as the panko chip.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I was just watching your videos just now.
Oh, you see that?
On
The
YouTube,
Dizzle with
where
the
you
sizzle?
were like the Dizzle with the sizzle, man. I
The
tell
Ghetto
you what,
Gourmet?
you gotta check those videos out.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a cook. That's why the air fryer is my friend. But my man here,
gotta make
videos.
Gotta make it taste good.
Cook.
Yeah.
Cook.
Well, part of my filmmaking when I was little, again, I know, again, studying your craft, I watch a lot of the Food Network and PBS. I used to watch a lot of Graham Kerr and Julia Childs, and I used to act like I was them in the kitchen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and they used to do the Cajun spice. Oh, wait, look at that Cajun. Look, oh, good right there. You ain't done that one too.
The salt in your mouth.
Yeah, so I would emulate them and then film. So I've been studying my craft and then also showing it as me being a teacher, how easy and simplified it can be to make your own seafood at home, that you don't have to be a fisherman, that you could do this stuff at home and play with your food and have a good time, kind of showcasing some of the stuff you do with training, right? Like it doesn't have to be, there's a grind to it, but if you get creative and play with it too, and have fun doing it, because you don't want it to end up just like a chore or something demanding that you have to do, right?
Right. Yeah. So some people think that us muscleheads, we're just eating chicken and rice and broccoli and we can't put nothing on it. But no, I mean there's some things like I salt and pepper and garlic and salt's actually good for you. Matter of fact, in moderation,
Mm-hmm.
of course. And so. I do experiment here and there, but then I also got to call my coach and let him know that, hey, I'm about to put this spice on there. Is that okay?
I had to come up to coach and tell him I had a couple of drinks. I had to turn myself in at the gym.
He did. And you know what? That goes to his integrity. And I love that, matter of fact. So.
But that way too, if you say, hey, I think you should be about a pound lighter or 2 pounds lighter by this time, or where your goal should be, at least you take ownership of it too. You know what I'm saying? But then when I watched your video, like you said, it really did put a spotlight as much time as you do. And that could be a too, man. If you guys are listening and you want to get involved, like you don't got to go 0 to hero overnight, that, temptation, if you've been living a certain way, a certain amount of time, it could take a time for one victory to win to another one to get that momentum going. So I don't think you got to start out, extreme or trying to go cold turkey. You could just start with just shifting some of your nutritional patterns per week, adding one more day at the gym, right? But the thing with the mindset is also making yourself a priority, right?
It's always about, at the end of the day, loving yourself, right? And taking care of number one, which is always going to be you. And so, if you're wanting to get into that health and fitness spectrum, I would recommend that you don't go hard, right?
I would recommend, let me jump in, get you some wise counsel. If you don't know, even I do know to do it, but ask somebody. Invest in yourself $125 a month for somebody to give you a little outline, a little guide, to check in with. Invest $100 and, I know females will spend get their eyelashes done and their fingernails and all that, and still not be happy where they're at,
Sure.
So just go without sacrifice, or fellas or whatever, instead of going to happy hour or whatever, but don't look at it as spending, look at it as investing.
Yeah.
And instead of going over the hurdle and chasing that New Year's resolution for 15 years, invest into some knowledge, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is too, is make sure you do your research when you're trying to look for somebody like that. There's a lot of cookie cutter coaches that are out there. You got a lot of, good coaches and things like that. But then you also have those great coaches. And for me, the investment would be to find you a great coach, someone who's willing to put some time into you, have that, I guess that customer service.
Yeah. And the goals, right? So when a person has a blueprint of what they want, right? We want to lift heavy in what we're doing. That's what you train specifically for. If you want to just get in shape and work on your endurance, there's different types of coaches too. So everybody has different types of plan, right? The reason why I weight train twice a week, Mrs. Jones, is because again, your body had homeostasis. You want to have some muscle tone on there. You don't want to just come in and walk on the cardio, but you do that and here's some nutrition. So it's kind of a tailor-made plan per individual too. Cyclist, somebody that rides a bike and wants to put on a little muscle might be a little bit different than, There's a lot of, again, when you said the term fitness, just because we lift heavy and we're muscle heads and we're gym rats and we're always there, that's not for everybody. You could just be a 45-minute something per day just to, keep your mobility and get some endurance. So
right, absolutely. And that's why the consultation, if you get the right coach, a great coach, that coach is going to sit you down. You're going to have a consultation, just like I did with Kevin.
Yep.
As to, hey, what are your goals, right? Are you wanting to compete? Because if you do, we're going to segue this way. If it's the fact that, hey, I want to lose a little weight, put on some muscle, maintain that, then we're going to go a different way. And you got to have different protocols and agendas for that. And
yep.
So, and a different plan.
It was funny. I was writing on the calendar everything that he said, and then I wrote that on a piece of paper because that's the closest thing I had. My pen right there, I'm writing down all these, and then I can't spell, so I was kind of sounding out some of the supplements, and I was showing the guy at the vitamin shop, what it was, and we were able to locate it and find it. I need to go back and get some more. I'm out about 4 of them, but he dialed me in on it, and it told me to stay out an extra day and how many grams of rice I was eating. And you ain't lying, man. 70 grams of rice ain't that much.
It's not. It's a handful.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You break it up with the fish and crumble it, and you kind of put it together and hit with a little soy sauce and some kind of either jalapeno serrano or sriracha, and then you're just eating for flavor. You're just eating for calories.
For calories,
for flavor.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say this, folks. I think Kevin and I, we met probably a little over a year and a half, I'm going to guess.
Something like that too.
So I've seen his journey. I've seen where he was at. But the fact that he came to me and we talked about some things and he put some trust into me, I'll tell you what, that's motivating. Those are the things that motivate me. Yeah. And it should be motivating all you followers, to tell you the truth, because he's put in the work. And I'm very, very proud of you, brother.
Thanks, man. Well, you keep winning too, and your coach is winning. You're like, God dang it. There goes that bar again. Again, I might not want to compete, but it is inspiring to see somebody that lives by it and then dial it in. So when I do come across him at the gym, I ain't trying to hide from him. I want to walk right up to him and like, what's up? How you doing? How you feeling? Right? Like, oh shit, my coach is here. I've been cheating, what I mean? And I ain't gonna see him. Like, nah, I'll be looking. But now that he's Mr. Popular, I only get like 30 seconds to say hi and bye when we at 24-hour. What do you think about Legends?
Legends
is a gym, by the way. So you're listening.
Legends is a gym. Legends Barbell. It's out there here in Oxnard. Yeah. But there's a lot of cookie cutter gyms, right? And
fitness centers.
Fitness centers, and I think most of you know what they are, and I'm not gonna, kind of bash them in any way.
Well, they all serve a purpose.
They do.
Again, someone can intimidate people. You walk in there like, oh my God, it's intimidating, and some of them are like a library, like, God damn, this shit is uninspiring. So
yeah. So Legends Gym, and there's also House of Gains, mm-hmm. right? These are more focused competitor type gyms because they've got.
You could tell when the cardio machines are upstairs and there's less of them. So you have gyms that are set up on anaerobic and aerobic. Mm-hmm. Anaerobic is weight training. Yep. Aerobic is cardio. Yep. And sometimes people are nervous to go around all the weightlifters, so they'll put the They'll put the cardio on the bottom so you can get to the bathroom and get to the cardio and get out of there. So they hide the weights upstairs. Where Legends, the cardio's upstairs and it's about an eighth of the gym, and they have weightlifting machines all around the gym. So it's more of a weightlifter's gym, where these fitness facilities are more people that are trying to come and do cardio, sneak in, hide, and get out of there, because again, usually it's an insecurity that they're working on, right? They don't want to go through the lion's den. That's what we call it. When you gotta walk through the gym, through the meatheads and everybody looking. Yeah, you gotta walk through the lion's den.
I tell you what, I didn't start my fitness journey until I was about 30. And prior to that, I couldn't even spell gym. Tell you the truth. You know, I was intimidated on coming in the gym. It was not something that I'd have anxiety about.
Mm-hmm. So if you are going to, like I did, if you see somebody properly that inspires you in anything that you're doing, go talk to them. There's a guy, Jim Ron. He's like, if you want to, spend $100 on buying somebody that's rich lunch, do it, and just get all the information you can and buy him a dessert and buy them a salad. So that way you get a whole hour of them talking to you to build it up. But seek out those, instead of being intimidated by them, go over there and ask them, respect them. And if somebody's working out and they're doing it, be like, hey, when you catch them at the water fountain or walking through the gym, it's like, hey, could you give me some pointers or some tips? For the most part, people are going to be helpful, right? We're in there to help one another, So if you're listening and you see somebody like I did, like, that's a big deal, I'm going to go, of course, I'm going to talk to you. Again, that's just me. Not everybody has the courage to go up and just start talking to people, but this is kind of like an invite to you that if you are looking or you admire somebody, go and give them a compliment and ask them for some little guidance, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've had to do it my entire time in the military, have had some kind of mentor, and, success is willing to do what most people are unwilling to do. And so,
and if you got inferiorities, man, and you have these little complexes, that's the hardest part, So what we teach in our program is always ask for help, simplify it, but some people have insecurities that prevent them from making that move. So remember we were talking earlier about the tandem jumper out of a airplane, right? So they need somebody to help push them, because a lot of people are just holding on both sides, just wanting to jump, but they're holding back for something. And if it's, like I say, some of those insecurities or the way you feel or how am I going to look, and especially as we get older, man, it's hard to confess that we need help, right? And do it. But, and I'll take this back to even me in business and learning. Like my son, man, he's a straight A student. I remember I used to ask him how to spell words and stuff, because that dude could nail it, right? And then when I went to write my first children's books, I had to ask somebody to help me articulate and put it together. So coming to them and saying, hey, look, man, I ain't the best speller, I ain't the best reader, but I got this concept, man, and if you could help me guide it. And now we have 6 children's workbooks, right? But I had to get over the fear and insecurity of somebody thinking, oh, that little, that kid don't know much. And it took me a while. So I'm telling people, man, it happens to all of us,
Yeah, but, absolutely. Yeah, resource management. You got to be a resource steward. Surround yourself with those people that have that same passion that you may want to do or you are doing. It's very, very important to surround yourself with those type of people, and because you don't know everything. I don't know everything. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a dictionary in any type, but yeah, it's I've always said that to be successful, you got to surround yourself with some kind of team, because you don't know it all. You just don't.
So what else you got coming down the line? Let's talk about your brands real quick. We got a few minutes left, man. Tell us what you got going on. Tell us about where you're going with business and your entities that are coming up. Again, so just wanted to introduce who he is, his mindset, a friend of the show, a friend of me for Community Kev, that again, the help that I still seek out. And even though I go to the gym every day to make sure I was dialing it in, I wasn't just going and spinning my wheels, that I wanted to see the results that I've been chasing for a little while. And pointing those out. So I wanted to get that across to people. Now go tell them about your business adventures and any other competitions and stuff you have coming up on the horizon, man.
Yeah. So we're looking at a couple brands, matter of fact. And so one of them is going to be Longstrong Wellness, which is under construction as we speak. We're going to have a YouTube channel attached to it where we do exactly what Kevin and I are doing right now, right? To inspire, to be inspired. And, we'll talk about certain things as far as, fitness and health and wellness, and maybe talk about supplements, have another interview with Kevin, introduce my team, talk about, different training aspects and, what's new in the world of fitness, those sort of things. That's just one of the, 3 brands that we're going to put together. The next one is kind of a merchandise brand. We're kicking around an idea of I'm calling it Garage Dog Apparel.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. And so that's purely going to be merch. And so the next one is going to be hinged on my coach. So he's been doing this for 30 years, like I said before, and he's been chasing his pro card. And he's been there. I mean, he's right there. So we're actually going back to Pittsburgh next week. He's going to be doing classic bodybuilding and bodybuilding. And he was one spot away, I guess you'd say, from being able to earn his pro card in both classic and in bodybuilding. And so he was able to talk to the head coach, and he got some pointers from the head coach. And so when we go back, that head judge, is going to remember him. He's going to implement those things that that the head judge told him he should do, and he's going to get his pro card. I'm very confident about that. But that has to happen in order for our third brand to come to fruition. And that third brand is going to be called Pro Bros currently. And that's going to be our coaching side of the house. And so Junie and I, my coach and I, we're gonna team up and give some very solid instruction guidance. And it'll be an in-person type deal. I don't really like to do remote. I'm that kind of person that's hands-on.
But you do that though? If somebody was on the East Coast,
no, absolutely, absolutely.
I know there's a guy, Sucka Free Fitness up in Sacktown, Big Luke, and I had another coach, and I thought that the communication with him broke down to check in on his people, and he would do. But this other guy that I'm watching, he really there's another aspect of him just getting on the call with him every week. So would you do that though?
Sure,
My point of that, I mean, I'm not pretty locally, but I mean,
absolutely.
now that the game you can get clientele from coast to coast,
Right. Yeah. And I'm a people person. And so, we have an app that we're looking to put together. That way within the app, I can send you, your protocols. We can schedule a meeting, we can do a Zoom, and all those things. And so that's how I'd want to communicate for my folks that are going to be remote. But again, we're still under construction, and that's the goal.
And if you can see the man hits his goals, right? It's just a matter of timing, resources, and when they line up. And if you already have your vision in place, just and you're working towards it, you can't not find your results, right?
Absolutely.
You'll be on that stage holding that up too, man. So Danny Long, IFBB pro card, man. And I know, again, as long as I remember going to the Fit Expo when it was in Pasadena. It used to be the Ironman.
Ironman.
And I remember you could meet Jake. I met Jake Cutler and Chris Cormier and these guys, and you would just walk up to their little table with their booth. Before now, you got to wait around the line and who they would get to. And I remember I had their DVD signed by The Real Deal, Chris Cormier. Remember my brother was walking by him and he called him Ronnie Coleman. He's like, "What up, Ronnie?" And he's like, "Hey, his brothers call me Ronnie." But it was smaller then to where it's at now. So I pay attention even though I don't compete, and I watch, especially like Arnold, me being a documentary filmmaker of people that overcome so much, and how important training is to you psychologically, when you need some time to yourself and take care of yourself and your wellness. So check it out. Let me go ahead and run through these one more time. All three of them, they can look them out on your Instagram. Go ahead.
All right. So for my IG, this is my personal page. It's Y, the letter Y, D, long face. Why the long face? And then, so again, the other, I guess, rocket ship that we're trying to put together is Long Strong Wellness, at Long Strong Wellness on IG. Facebook, just look for Danny Long. You'll probably see a little picture of me. I'll have my little da-dun shorts on, and yeah.
So do you have any of the other competitions coming up? Are you on the off season now? Are you bulking? Like, what are you doing? Where are you at right now?
Yeah. So the off season now, we are putting another strategy together because we have to. Because the simple fact is, amateur versus pro, and so they're beasts.
Are you on the pro? Are you gonna see you at the Olympia, or where do you go? Do you have to qualify to get to the Olympia? You got to do a couple local pro local shows, right?
Right. Yeah.
I know you have like the Pittsburgh Pro. You have these pros that you go around and have to qualify for that one. Is that?
It's the same kind of format. Yeah. So you got to enter a pro show.
Is there so many you have to do per year?
No, there's
to keep your status.
Well, no.
Or to compete.
And it's funny you say that, and I hate to segue real quick. you know, people get their pro card.
Oh yeah,
right?
seen that. Yeah, and then they don't want
And
to.
then they don't compete again.
Yeah,
You
should
know,
have
they
to
use that as their,
I think it was Lee Priest was just saying that recently, right? You
Yeah.
have these pros that get a card and don't get out here and
they
do a
don't
couple
go out
shows a
there and
year.
do the shows. They
Yeah.
just get it, and then they use that to launch whatever, you know.
And that's okay too, right? Because I know there's some pros like Rich Piana and stuff that got tired of it and went on his 5% run, and they're doing great. I know Tamara Movok, I can't pronounce her last name, when she would be going up and competing and she couldn't like get past that number 2, they went their way. Dana Lynn Bailey, you know, she doesn't do a lot more competing, right?
True.
But she has a huge following and she sells her stuff. She does her training. So, you know, if you work that hard to get it, that's cool. But to compete still,
right,
should be mandatory.
I agree with you when it comes to that. But yeah.
So, but not, you don't have to. You're just going to just keep. But for you to continue what's on your journey and your path, you're ready to keep it moving.
I'm keeping it moving. You know, this 50-year-old body, I got to continue to beat it up, put it on the table, and see where we stand. You know, and it has nothing to do with anybody else, no other competitors, but it's all about, you know, seeing.
That's what you do when you do what you love and love what you do. Like you still enjoy it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what would be your next show? Do you have anything on the calendar?
Well, we are in our bulking phase right now. I'm looking at spring.
Let's see. I'll see yours. Go ahead. Look it. Oh, hold on. Ooh. Damn, dog. Kick back.
Man, let me go put the jacket on.
Yeah, you're going to put the likes go up on that one. Easy.
I got to put the jacket on now.
so go ahead.
So, yeah, we're going to take this time to do a little bulking. You know, the guys at that level, they're monsters, you know. The good thing is the fact that they just implemented in men's physique height and weight. Right.
So it's kind of when the Olympia had like the 212 under and over kind of thing.
Exactly. So we're in the amateurs currently, it's only height. So, you know, I'm 5'8" now. I was 5'10" when I came into this world at my peak. But at 5'8", 187 is my peak. That's all I can. I'm standing.
He's out there murdering them. 187 is go for murder. Yeah, you're murdering them. Go ahead.
And I'm sitting at 190 now. So we got to definitely change the protocols, you know, and try to see if we can put a little bit of mass, but we've got to take something. And that's just to be as lean as possible to be able to have a good chance. And I think we want to go up.
So you think, is it monsters or over aesthetics?
It's always aesthetics, right? Bodybuilding.
Well, that's what body was getting that way, right? Because people were trying to get to 300 like Ronnie, and they had to like bring it back and give it to Dexter Jackson, the Blade, right? So that way, next time guys ain't showing them at 350.
Exactly.
You know, there's got to be a cap to where like, you know, the monster. We got to get back to some of the aesthetics because these dudes are just getting too big.
Yeah, there's a disadvantage sometimes, right? So like my buddy Junie, he's 5'4", I think. Sorry, Junie, if I messed that up.
About 5'5".
Okay, say 5'5", right? And in his overall, he won his class. But then all of the other monsters he had to compete against that won their class. And those classes were based on height also and weight. So now, in order for him to get his pro card, it was the top 3. Well, here's 5'4" Junie, and here's 6'5" Monster. I mean, you know, and again, some of the politics, you know, I'm not going to get into that. But usually it's going to go toward the monster. And so there's that disadvantage. And so that's why I'm glad that they implemented something like that, at least in the men's physique side of the house, because, man, I've had to compete against the monsters too, you know, even on the amateur side. But now it's an even playing field, I'm going to say.
Well, that makes sense. You know, got heavyweights fighting featherweights and stuff, right? There's got to be a real, part of it. I know, man, when the women's thing, it would be like 5'1", 5'1.5", 5'1 3/4", 5. There'd be like 400 girls coming through that stage. And I remember the men's, because we have to watch it all because they put the heavyweights at the end. Right. So we used to go to the Excalibur and stuff down in Venice,
right,
or Culver City. I remember in the back they would doing warming
up
and warming. I volunteered, like, you guys need some help with the suntan? You guys need anybody help with oils and tanning? You know, I'll help.
I got free services.
Just trying to help.
Yeah, exactly.
So now do they I think something else that changed was that the men heavyweights go earlier, so that way they're not so depleted and dried out and hungry at 10 o'clock at night because they haven't eaten all day. Is that something you witnessed, or, you know, when you're going to one of these local shows and you have so many, again, female, call them the bomb shows, can, you know, up there posing and doing their thing, they could take 2-3 hours before they get to the men's
Yeah, that's something they literally just implemented last year, is trying to get the men's out of the way, then the women's portion. Because before they'd have a little bit of the men's, have some bodybuilding, and then
Yeah.
they throw the women's wellness or bikini or fitness or anything, something like that. And then the men would just be sitting there waiting. But at the same time, they asked all men to be there at a certain time in the morning.
Right.
So now men's physique, classic physique, we're waiting for the women to get through, and then it's our time. So, there's a lot
Again,
of things that could happen.
When the women compete, like literally, dude, there's so many classes
Yes.
that it just takes a while. Nothing wrong with it, but
No.
it could be a show all by itself.
Absolutely.
Just because of the time length of how many of them show up to compete, you know.
Yes. And so there was a lot of feedback that came from a lot of the competitors, and so they've changed the format, and so it works for everybody, even the women.
So I seen Junior, I think when he was out, and his mom makes some type of rice that he loves, and that's what he gets to eat when he's
Sticky rice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So is there something when you get off stage, and you win? Is there? I know, and like in the Olympias and the other ones, they have pizza and stuff waiting for them. What's your go-to when you get off the stage? Do you have one, or are you straight to the tilapia and Tupperware?
Sushi, man.
Sushi.
Oh yeah.
Well, what kind? Are you a sashimi guy, or do you get the fried rolls? You go all tempura back, or are you trying to stay a little bit more on just like the yellowtail sashimi, or what is your?
I'm that guy. I'm a roll guy.
Yeah.
And I'm usually gonna go for the cooked stuff. Not saying that I wouldn't eat any of the the raw stuff, but that's kind of my go-to. I go with the rolls. And
how many? What are you putting down? 4 or 5?
Oh, at least 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. Especially after a competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're starving, and yeah, it's
You like a lot of wasabi?
I'm not a wasabi.
I do.
I'm not a spicy guy.
The other day, man, I made some and I put some in there. Bro, I was dying when I made a little bowl. I think I might have sent you a picture of it. It was bluefin and yellowtail, and I rubbed my head because my eye socket was burning, my nose, like it would hit up underneath the rice, and I mixed them together like a little bowl. I made it more of a bowl style than sushi style. God, my God, bro, that thing had my eye on. I like it. I kept going, run upon it again. I like a lot of wasabi on my sushi. Just a question. All right, so we're running up on about an hour right now. Again, this is our friend Danny Long. Check him out, man. If you want any coaching, just if you want inspiration, I see his stuff on there, and it makes me tighten up mine for another week or two. Really does. Genuine. We're always willing to talk to people at the gym and give them some advice, because even at 24-hour, you get over to Legends, there's a lot more guys your size and my size there, right? Mm-hmm. When we're at 24-hour, that we're talking about, again, it is more of a fitness center where we're the big dogs, all but there are 4 or 5 of us. When you get to Legends, there's like 400 of us over there, which is cool. But you'd always take time, because you're a standout over there, which I'm not saying you're at Legends, but definitely always had time to talk to me or the other Danny and a couple other guys. I remember one time we were all flexing in there, me and that one dude with the little piercings all jacked, and we were having a little pose off right there, because I was posing bodybuilder, but there's a different way that you pose for fitness and physique. So we were all jumping in on the cat. It looked like a pose down that you see on the stage and stuff. But you always had time to talk to us, man, and give everybody love, and then take my phone call and coach me over the phone and checking in with me. I want to see pictures. I want to see the scale, checking in on me. So look in there and tell our people, give them a little bit. This is our last little moment, a little motivational moment. Any, piece of advice you would give them on anything, just in life, maybe not just fitness. It's up to you, but it could be a broad statement.
Yeah. So I would just say, if I had any advice, take a step forward. You know what I mean? Take that leap of faith. Surround yourself with those that you have a passion for, that are actually already doing it. You got to take that first step. Too many people are hesitant. Too many people feel that they cannot do it. And so I would say that shift the mindset. And if it's fitness, if it's anything in life, as far as even your profession, if you have a goal, you gotta put a foot forward, for sure.
Take that first step.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I'm not going to say that, I had that issue when, like I said, I even said before that I couldn't even spell gym. I didn't want to come in the gym. I had anxiety about it. But eventually I put my mind set that I wanted to change it. And for me, if anybody didn't know, I started with P90X. Do you remember that?
Yep.
That the Beachbody videos? Started with that. And I did that because I could do it at home. And then once I was able to accomplish that and we saw the results, it motivated me to go to a gym, finally get a membership. And when we were in there,
What was your first gym? Do you remember?
very first gym?
Yeah.
It was in San Diego, LA Fitness. Big gym. Intimidating too. But going in there after I've been properly trained, then I found out that half the people in there didn't know what they were doing. So again, don't be scared to take that leap of faith, and talk to somebody too, and have somebody that can help you take that step, because it could change your life.
Yep. That way you're not misstepping. Right.
Absolutely.
All right, man. That's going to do it for today. Mindset. Take that step. Danny Long here in the house today, and I'll see him at the gym. Not tonight because I'm not allowed to go to the gym today. So I got to ride my bike. But I'll be back tomorrow for back and then shoulders and then arms on Saturday. And yeah, man, that's my routine. And I got my tilapia in the freezer. And I haven't really eaten much red meat. I mean, following his thing, following what he's told me, pretty much for the most part. I'm about 90%. I ain't going to lie.
Appreciate you, Dylan.
Yeah. And, I'm happy where I'm at. But, Pandora's calling. We got a fundraiser to plan. All right, I got to get to my next meeting. And, again, thank you very much, man, for your support, your team.
Thanks, bro.
And your help and being a part of the team and the family let me in on. And really appreciate you, man. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. And, man, you're a stand-up guy. And I'm just so glad that you gave me this opportunity to come out, chat with you. And I'm looking forward to something else, something bigger one day.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We fam now. That's for sure.
For sure, brother.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
My brother.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Barry, get us out of here. Let's go.
See ya.
Today's guest, Danny Long of Long Strong Wellness and more. To learn more about Real Guppy Outdoors, please visit www.communitykevin.com. Brought to you by AftCo Fishing Apparel and Tackle, designed to perform. Channel Island Sport Fishing, offering deep-sea fishing on quality sport fishing charter boats, and more. Costa Sunglasses. Discover life's greatest adventures with Costa. See what's out there. Daiwa. If you want innovation and quality in your fishing products, Daiwa has what you need. This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.